And as far as I believe, I think they should all be thrown in prison for as long as they can be. And any of these other people who want to try these tricks should go to prison following them. This has been an escalation. I write about this in my Spectator column this week. There's been an escalation of this for some time now. All of these eco-loons thought that it was okay to throw soup at a masterpiece by Van Gogh. Earlier this year, a horrible young woman slashed and sprayed graffiti over a portrait by the great Hungarian Jewish painter Philip de Laszlo. And there's been no punishment of her because she said she did it for Palestine. Yeah, right. And now we see these eco-loons attacking one of Britain's most important archaeological sites. It really tells you everything you need to know about a movement when, in order to save the planet, as they pretend they want to do, they destroy the planet.
Douglas Murray recently addressed the activities of climate activists from the Just Stop Oil organization who vandalized Stonehenge, an ancient monument. A wave of environmental protests is sweeping the nation, marked by direct conflict and vandalism by activists demanding urgent government action on climate change. The organization Just Stop Oil recently highlighted their activities, including a notable incident where two supporters painted private jets shortly after Taylor Swift's plane landed. These activists are calling for the UK government to collaborate with other nations on a fair and equitable plan to end the extraction and burning of fossil fuels, specifically oil, gas, and coal by 2030. One activist, 22-year-old Cole McDonald, emphasized the stark contrast between the luxurious lives of billionaires and the harsh conditions faced by millions. He pointed out that the wealth accumulated by a few is detrimental to the environment and humanity, referencing Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer to underscore the urgency and severity of the situation. According to McDonald, climate breakdown will affect everyone, regardless of their wealth. This protest was followed by another high-profile action from Just Stop Oil, where activists sprayed orange dust on the 5,000-year-old Stonehenge monument right before the summer solstice celebration. This act was condemned by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who described it as a disgraceful act of vandalism. Labour Party leader Sir Keir Starmer also denounced the damage as outrageous and labeled Just Stop Oil's actions as pathetic. During the incident, members of the public attempted to intervene as campaigners ran towards the stone circle at the UNESCO World Heritage Site.
The thing that's going on in the world, they always say, well, this is a great opportunity to advance our green agenda. I mean, go back 100 years to the Spanish flu pandemic. I wonder if anyone then said, you know, this is a terrible worldwide pandemic, but what a great opportunity this is to do something else, like a green agenda. These guys are obsessed with it. It's true that there are questions about fossil fuels, there are questions about energy independence in the future, but the idea that you use every single thing now to get us to the situation that, as you say, we're just not ready for. They don't want.
Environmental activism has a long history of being highly visible in public. In the US, groups like the Weather Underground in the 1970s and 80s undertook bold actions to draw attention to their causes. Similarly, European activists are engaging in dramatic demonstrations to make their voices heard, reminiscent of actions seen in the US, such as defacing paintings in the National Portrait Gallery.
What are they achieving?
Well, what they're saying is they want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking oil.
Murray's viewpoint was expressed in a video in which he remarked on the increasing increase of such acts by climate activists. The incident saw climate activists assaulting Stonehenge, prompting others, including women, to attempt to stop the destruction. Murray questioned the proper penalty for political activists who participate in such destructive activities, particularly when it affects key historical places.
Earlier this year, a horrible young woman slashed and sprayed graffiti over a portrait by the great Hungarian Jewish painter Philip de Laszlo. And there's been no punishment of her because she said she did it for Palestine.
He noted that the increase of such acts has been apparent for some time. Murray cited other incidents, such as when protesters flung soup at a Van Gogh masterpiece and a young lady destroyed a painting of the Hungarian Jewish painter Philip de Laszlo. The offenders rationalized their actions as being for different reasons, but Murray saw them as acts of fanaticism and narcissism.
They are vicious narcissists, and they're desperately seeking for some kind of cause, and they are trashing our history, and they're trashing our holy places and our places of learning and culture, and they're getting away with it.
Murray describes these activists as vicious narcissists who seem to be motivated by boredom and a need for attention. He chastised them for destroying historical and cultural landmarks in the name of protecting the Earth. He questioned their actual objectives, implying that their efforts were motivated more by self-promotion than genuine care for the environment.
And as far as I believe, I think they should all be thrown in prison for as long as they can be. And any of these other people who want to try these tricks should go to prison following them.
Murray argued for severe legal penalties for such conduct. He stated the idea that imprisoning these people for as long as feasible will dissuade others from committing similar crimes. He underlined the need of law enforcement taking a firm position in one of these instances to influence climate activists' conduct.
And they are trashing our history, and they're trashing our holy places and our places of learning and culture, and they're getting away with it.
Murray maintained his belief that these activist acts are harmful to the preservation of history and culture. He urged the justice system to take decisive action to avoid future cases of vandalism and extremism camouflaged as activism.
What on earth is this all about? This is just criminal activity under the guise of some kind of activism.
No, that's not, that pain will be washed off really easily. So it's not long-lasting damage at all. Unlike the damage that is being done now by the fossil fuel industry, and just keeping burning fossil fuels, putting more CO2 into the atmosphere. You're right, the Neolithic people were not prolific users of fossil fuels. They did not cause the kind of damage that we're causing now. That's all been within since the Industrial Revolution in the 150 years.
So because
this is when the damage has been done.
So because this stuff can be washed off, ergo there's no issue here. Well, Stonehenge aren't particularly happy about this. They've come out on their social media page and they say Stonehenge is protected by the Ancient Monuments Act and it is a criminal offence to damage the stones. There are also multiple rare lichen species growing on the stones that are also protected. So this isn't good for nature, is it?
Murray's insights come at a time when climate movement is gaining traction throughout the globe. Just Stop Oil has been engaged in a number of high-profile demonstrations, often using disruptive and provocative methods to bring attention to their cause. These activities have provoked significant discussion about the proper mix of activism and respect for public and historical sites. Murray's criticism of these campaigners indicates a larger issue about the techniques utilized by some climate activists. He claimed that such approaches might eventually contradict their declared objectives by alienating the public and authority. By participating in acts of vandalism and damage, these activists risk being seen as troublemakers rather than environmentalists. The occurrence at Stonehenge is especially significant, given the site's historical importance. Stonehenge is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most famous archaeological sites in the world. The destruction or vandalism of such a landmark is not only a criminal, but also an insult to cultural heritage and history. Murray's outrage reflects a widespread view among those who think that conserving historical places should be a top priority. Defacing such a monument not only disrespects our shared heritage, but also undermines the legitimacy of environmental causes. Activism should promote constructive dialogue and positive change, not destructive actions that alienate potential supporters and damage irreplaceable landmarks. Furthermore, Murray's statements reflect his dissatisfaction with what he regards as tolerance toward these campaigners. He noted that prior instances of vandalism by climate activists have often resulted in little or no penalty. This, he suggested, encourages others to engage in similar behavior without fear of punishment.